charts at 169.
And last over the line, number 169. You're 169 in line to the throne.
The number 169 never screamed going places until now. Get the Toyota Aygo X-Play for only £169 deposit, then £169 a month with 0% APR representative. Just go. Aygo.
0% APR representative on new sales of Aygo X-Play over 48 months. £169 per month. Customer deposit of £169 when proposed and approved via Access Toyota by 31st of October 2019. £3,487.50p optional final payment. Subject to status to over 18s. Indemnities may be required. Conditions apply. Toyota Financial Services.
The B&Q 3 for 2 offer is now on, including an unmissable 3 for 2 on all paint, such as Dulux, Valspar and Farrow & Ball. For this show-stopping deal, hurry to B&Q. You can do it when you're 3 for 2 it. Every third item a single transaction in the send-in price order free. Offer ends November 3rd. See DIY.com.
Should we go halves?
I'll get this. Let me just get my card, which was in my pocket.
You can't control awkward first dates, but if you temporarily misplace your debit card, you can freeze and unfreeze it on our mobile banking app. Feel in control every day. Lloyds Bank, by your side. You can only freeze some transaction types. T's and C's apply.
Hey, it's me again, the TV. Since my family gave me Now TV, there's no more endlessly searching for something they want to watch, because now I don't do filler TV, just killer TV. If my family want reality TV, I can fill that island-shaped hole. Movies, I've got blockbusters. Or how about sports? These games are unmissable. Get in. Now they can watch whatever they're in the mood for.
What's your TV got for you tonight? Now TV. 18 plus, month passes auto renew, terms apply.
And to say happy birthday, we're giving you a pair of award-winning Silver Galaxy Buds.
But it's not my birthday till June.
No, but it's ours. 10 years ago, we launched our first Galaxy smartphone. And to celebrate, we're giving customers who purchase any Galaxy S10, Note 10 or A90 5G the chance to claim a pair of amazing wireless Galaxy Buds.
Wow, and I didn't get you anything.
Get the latest Samsung Galaxy smartphone now at your local O2 shop or o2.co.uk. Offer available on purchases made by the 23rd of October 2019 and claimed online within 30 days. T&Cs apply.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly Evans, and here's what's coming up on the exchange today. We're going to take a closer look at these earnings and look at what that's telling us about the shift from momentum to value taking place. Plus, Chipotle is the best performing S&P stock of the year. The company just delivered another big earnings beat, but the stock is down and there are some challenges ahead. We'll speak about it with the CEO, Brian Nickel, and an exchange exclusive ahead. And WeWork's rescue deal is coming not a minute too soon. A look at just how close this company was to running out of money. That and more ahead today. Scott, we'll see you then.
All right, Cal, look forward to that. Thank you very much. All right, Morgan Stanley shares are up more than 6% in just the past week. Options traders think the run is going to continue. John and Pete have unusual activity. John, you're up first.
That's exactly right. And Mike Wilson was blocked from buying these. But nonetheless, we did see unusual activity in Microsoft.
Are you guys like doing the exchange with Kelly?
We are doing the exchange with
She's
Kelly.
got
candy over there. Oh, she's willing to
chewing.
She's got 2 bags of M&Ms. Morgan Stanley stocks at 45.65. They're buying upside calls, Scott. December 46 calls. So not a lot of out of the moneyness, but nonetheless a great trade, I think, can get you into this one for $1.25 or so. 5,000 of those have traded so far today. Second one, take a look at this one. TAL. This is on the put side. Education, and is something about to fall out of bed? That's what they're betting on in this case, Scott. Take a look at this. Stock's 37, or it was 37 right there. They're buying the 36 puts. Those puts, basically November 36 puts. I bought those puts. This is a downside play, not upside, not calls. This is downside. Lastly, Zoom Media. The stock, when you look at it, came here, ran to the upside, sold all the way back off to 62. Now they're coming in on the upside again, Scott. Take a look at the November 65 calls with the stock basically 63. They're buying those calls in really big numbers. I'm in that as well. Probably be in that one about a month.
All right, I got a quickie for you in the
Hold on a second.
Yeah,
Hold on a second.
Go ahead.
What in the world are you wearing?
I'm so glad he said something. I wanted to say something too, Scott. It's a battery pack, Scott. No, it's not. I don't know what it is.
Is that?
You know, I said Kelly has all these M&Ms. I keep the spare M&Ms right here in this pack. along with my phone.
I don't know what to tell you, Scott. I love you to death. I don't know what to tell you. All right, real quick, Scott.
Related to you.
I know. Well, we kind of look
Back
a little
to
alike
you,
anyway.
Scott.
So, in the financial world, take a look at Fidelity. The November 125 calls, those are already in the money calls. That's when they started buying them, Scott. They actually sold the 130s against them, but some very, very large buying in there. That's an expensive trade, so that's a lot of money that somebody's putting down, expecting this thing to move to the upside in a very short time frame. About a month, call it, I guess, right now. And a real quickie, I already teased it once. Micron, the November 8 calls, they're buying those calls today. Not huge numbers, but they're going for these November 8th, the 45 calls, just out of the money. So in other words, it's just above where the stock's trading right now. Those are trading for about $1. We bought some of those. I love that trade as well as the other one. I'll be in both these trades in a very, very short time frame.
All right.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, that makes a fanny pack look fashionable.
Oh, come on, Scott. This is so much better. You need it when you're on your motorcycle and you can't reach into your pocket.
Pete.
That's why you need it.
Hey, I can't say, I'm out of here. I'm going over with Kelly.
You and Buzz Lightyear, come on back over here.
All right, Buzz Lightyear.
All right, coming up, we're answering your questions next. You still have time to reach us. CNBC.com/halftime. Tweet us. We're back right after this.
Right now, the future is being written by people like you. Creative thinkers, tech lovers, problem solvers. Are you going to stand by and watch? Well, show the world what you've got. Join others around the UK on an EY degree apprenticeship in digital and technology. And earn a salary working with exciting businesses while studying towards a degree. Don't let the future pass you by. Get involved. For more information and to apply, search EY Digital Apprentice.
Time is money. Or so money says. Well, money. I know you like to dictate every hour of every day, add to my to-do list and throw the odd spanner in the works. But not anymore. This is my business, and I run it on my watch. I'm in control now, money. And times are changing. Save time with instant business invoicing, now on the Barclays app. Search Barclays Business and make money work for you.
Must have a Barclays business account. T's and C's apply.
London, switch to Vodafone, the UK's best mobile network, and be unlimited, because the best phones deserve the best network and our new unlimited data plans. The future is exciting. Ready? Vodafone.
Max download speeds apply to unlimited data. Best network as voted by readers of trusted reviews. Terms at vodafone.co.uk/unlimited.
Hey, it's me again, the TV. Since my family gave me Now TV, there's no more endlessly searching for something they want to watch, because now I don't do filler TV, just killer TV. If my family want documentaries, I got ones about space, sharks, or superstars. Reality TV, I can fill that island-shaped hole. Or how about football? I've got the Premier League. Now they can watch whatever they're in the mood for.
What's your TV got for you tonight? Now TV. 18 plus, month passes auto-renew, terms apply.
And to say happy birthday, we're giving you a pair of award-winning Silver Galaxy Buds.
But it's not my birthday till June.
No, but it's ours. 10 years ago, we launched our first Galaxy smartphone. And to celebrate, we're giving customers who purchase any Galaxy S10, Note 10 or A90 5G the chance to claim a pair of amazing wireless Galaxy Buds.
Wow, and I didn't get you anything.
Get the latest Samsung Galaxy smartphone now at your local O2 shop or o2.co.uk. Offer available on purchases made by the 23rd of October 2019 and claimed online within 30 days. T&Cs apply.
Your new neighbour is a musician. His creative peak is at 3 a.m. They're doing roadworks next to your house. Your dog thinks he's a wolf at night. There's always a reason to travel. Fly with Lufthansa's incredible fares around the world. For example, to Bangkok, Shanghai, or Singapore. Book now on Lufthansa.com. Conditions apply. Say yes to the world. Lufthansa.
All right, let's answer your questions now. Joe, you first. Ricky in New York. Oxy.
Down 30% year-to-date, report earnings on November 4th. There is a chance oil could rally because positioning is very light. I like Hess, and I like One Oak better.
Steph, Gerald in Massachusetts wants to know about CRM. Got into Salesforce at 161.
Oh, well then average down. Average down, definitely. I mean, it's a great long-term secular growth story. And Dreamforce is a big conference that they do in a month, and the stock usually acts quite well. So I would actually add here, the valuation is the only thing that kind of bothers me.
Okay. John, for the record, I meant Woody. Okay?
Yes.
Woody.
Yes.
That's Woody's story, not Buzz.
Either Either way, anything but late for dinner, you can call me.
Casino stocks from Daniel in New Jersey.
Yeah, I own several. We've had unusual activity in MGM, also had unusual activity, I believe, in LVS, Las Vegas Sands. So I like them both. I think over the last couple weeks they've done okay. They're going to do better going into the fourth quarter here.
Pete, David, North Carolina. What do you think about Pfizer?
Love Pfizer, David. I've owned this for a very long time now, multiple years, and I can just continue to create my own dividend stream on top of the dividend by selling calls every single month against it. I think they have a great pipeline. I'm holding on to it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back to final trade straight ahead.
One in 10 Londoners surveyed said they'll give more to charity in the next 12 months. Are you one of them? At CAF, we help generous people like you support their favourite charities by making giving simple. And we provide charities with the tools they need to perform at their best. So together, we can make a bigger difference for our communities. We're a charity and a champion for better giving. We are CAF, and we make giving count. Visit cafonline.org to find out more.
Whatever job you're searching for, you can find it on LinkedIn. First jobs, flexible jobs, work from home on a Friday jobs, advertising jobs, accounting jobs, HR, PR, even ER jobs, Soho jobs, Shoreditch jobs. Keep me away from the central line jobs. Banking jobs, building jobs, never ever boring jobs. Small jobs, big jobs, lunch in Borough Market jobs, or even voiceover jobs, which is how I ended up recording this ad. Search millions of jobs on LinkedIn and find one meant for you.
So it's not fair, self-service checkouts. Let's forget the fact you're now working on a supermarket checkout. As soon as you put anything past the scanner and placed it down on that bagging area, you literally just nudge. Literally, a blueberry falls out the bag. And it's going, thanks to getting assistance. You need assistance. And they got to wait there for hours because everyone else is moving things. It's just not fair.
If you want fair, you want fibre broadband from TalkTalk. Search TalkTalk Fibre. Fairer broadband for everyone.
Breathe in and out. Every day, you take 20,000 breaths, potentially exposing yourself to harmful particles of pollution. According to the Royal College of Physicians, air pollution contributes to around 1 in 20 deaths in the UK. But at E.ON, we believe it's time to do something about it. We've committed to installing ultra-fast electric vehicle charge points. We offer solar panels and batteries that collect and store energy. And we've helped a citywide transport operator introduce a large fleet of emission-free electric buses. It's time to clear the air. Search E.ON Clean Air.
We're going to do final trades in a minute, but we do want to get an outlook ahead of Microsoft's earnings. Everybody owns it. Mm-hmm. Yeah? All hands are in the air? Mm-hmm. Wave them like you just don't care. Thank God the camera was still on the wall.
That dancing thing's got to go, man.
Be quick.
I think the execution of what Satya Nadella laid out when he first became the CEO is just continuing to play out. And how much are they? The real story is going to be: are they digging into Amazon in terms of are they going after number one and making some progress? And I think they are.
Doc?
Yep, I agree, and I think Microsoft's going to win. We had unusual upside call activity yesterday. I'm buying at a lower strike because I think it was way too optimistic, but I think they beat tonight.
If a bar could be high, could it be any higher than it would be for Microsoft given the run?
I mean, I kind of think so at this valuation, but I think they're putting up Azure. If they do 60% or 60% plus minus 1 or 2, that actually is going to be very good for the stock. So I like it. Small position though for me.
Joey? High expectations. I hope it misses. I'll buy more.
All right, let's do finals. Steph, you're up first.
So Johnson & Johnson, I know I've been preaching this name for a while, but it fell 6% last week on the asbestos issue. I bought more. I still like this stock. The fundamentals are very strong. Great balance sheet.
All right, Pete, what do you got for me?
MasterCard, MA, we have some call buying, very, very short term, but I believe in this stock, and I'm going to probably buy some after the show.
You believe in it more than Visa, or you like both?
Not more than, like them both. Yeah.
You own
absolutely.
both?
I do not.
CRM, Salesforce.com, Judge. I like it. I know it's not an earnings play because this is short-term option buying. Earnings aren't until late November, really. But I like this one, and I think Benioff's going to light it up.
Last couple of years, I've talked about avoiding the political rhetoric by being in medical devices. That's your healthcare exposure. IHI, it's a medical devices ETF. I'm already long PKI. I'm already long Abbott, but I want more exposure to medical devices. This is going to give it to you. This is Danaher. This is Intuitive Surgical, Edward Life Sciences. Good ETF.
All right. You see There's the medical devices are having a very big day. To your point, Kramer was talking about that earlier today, too. Dow right now, somewhat muted, up 11. Got our eye on Facebook and D.C. as well. Zuckerberg's still there. Does it for us. The exchange starts now.
Thank you, Scott. Hi, everybody. Here's what's ahead of us. From Libra to China to the elections and privacy, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is facing tough questions from regulators right now. Is he fighting a battle he can't win, and is the stock now stuck in purgatory? We'll debate that. Plus, Boeing's bounce back despite a huge earnings miss. Investors are flocking into the stock. Why are they so bullish today, and should they be? We'll dig into that even as its gains moderate. Plus, an exclusive interview with Chipotle CEO Brian Niccol. We're going to talk about the stock's meteoric rise since he took over, the latest earnings, and the company's next act as it delays some store openings. But we do begin with the markets today, and Dom Chu is watching that for us.
We are watching it because the gains right now are somewhat muted, but they have been all day very much in the green. You can see the Dow Industrial's up by just about 12 points. At the highs, we were just about maybe 108 points to the upside. At the lows, up about 7 points. So we're kind of hovering near the lows of the session. Still, though, some modest gains. The S&P 500 hovering just below that 3,000 mark, and the NASDAQ up about 0.1%. Earnings reports dominate the headlines today. Let's take a look at two here. First of all, to start, shares of Snap up 91% over the course of the last year, but down today. And then Boeing shares off 3% as well as over the course of that year here. Both earnings reports sending those stocks moving. And then another one to watch here as well. What's going on with names elsewhere in the earnings mix? Talk about Texas Instruments and Norfolk Southern as well. Those shares moving as well because of earnings reports. Do they signal anything different about the earnings environment? We'll take a look at those, obviously, throughout the course of the day. Kel, I'll send things back over to you.
Okay, Dom, appreciate it. Thank you, sir, and welcome to the exchange. I'm Kelly Evans. Let's dig into the continued battle over where Boeing goes next. An intraday chart pretty much sums up the story today, from a 3% drop to a nearly 5% rally to now just about a 1% gain after the company's earnings this morning. While almost every metric missed estimates, Boeing says it still anticipates the 737 MAX will return to service next quarter. Joining me now for more on this are David Gellis with the New York Times and CNBC's own Phil LeBeau. Welcome to both of you. Phil, the earnings were a miss by a mile, as you have been reporting on. Are investors simply taking them at their word that this plane is getting back in the skies?
Well, I don't think they're taking them at their word. I think there are enough indications out there that what Boeing believes will happen by the end of this year, which is certification by the FAA, there's a decent chance of that happening. And if it doesn't happen by the end of this year, a lot of investors are saying, look, it's likely going to happen shortly after the new year, which means, A, they can ramp up production on the 737 MAX, and all of those MAXes that are parked, that have been built but not yet delivered, that they can start to clear those out. And so they're looking down the road at late in 2020 when this company will see real juice in cash flow as they ramp up those deliveries.
David, I appreciate your thoughts here that as long as the return to service is this quarter, Boeing you can see their path to recovery. But if not, then what? I mean, we've seen this timeline slip so many times before.
They're cutting it real close, Kelly. Last quarter, they made a really dramatic announcement just before earnings where they said if they weren't able to get this plane recertified by the end of this quarter, they might have to shut down the MAX production line. Now, we're right in the window where they're still on the right side of that equation, but if even one more delay happens, we could be on the wrong side of it. And that would have drastic economic consequences. That would impact suppliers. It might further impact GDP. Right. It would have real consequences for Boeing's workforce as well. So we're right at the edge there, and I think everyone's watching very closely to see if there are any more delays.
No, you're right about the macro impact, which we haven't really talked about yet, because it does show up, industrial production and a whole host of other readings as well. David, what about this turnover, the head of commercial aviation leaving? Why now? I mean, why do it as you guys first reported yesterday before the earnings, before the CEO is set to appear on Capitol Hill? Why not wait till after those events?
Well, last week we reported that Kevin McAllister, the head of Boeing Commercial Airplanes, was under intense scrutiny inside the company, not only for his handling of the MAX crisis, but also for some of his relationships with customers. The board, I think, finally needed to have an answer when people asked, is Boeing doing anything to hold senior management accountable? Kevin obviously left, replaced by Stan Deal, who's a well-respected head of Boeing Global Services. And now Dennis Muhlenberg, the CEO, has an answer when he testifies in front of Congress next week as to what, if anything, Boeing is actually doing. Well, he has something to point to.
Phil, you agree about that?
I do. Not that they needed a fall guy, but we increasingly heard people saying, who's being held accountable here? Because prior to Kevin McAllister being relieved and being shown the door, nobody had been fired. Nobody had been put out there as, look, these guys were in charge of this and they messed up and they have to go. So this does give Dennis Muhlenberg something he can point to on Capitol Hill. But beyond that, it also is a chance for the board to say, we are holding people accountable for what went wrong.
Yeah, and we'll see if that is effective in terms of what Congress is looking for, but also obviously for the stock today trying to maybe hang on to these levels. Thank you both, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Phil LeBeau and David Gellis. And from Boeing to Chipotle now. The best performing S&P stock of the year is up more than 80%, but shares are down about 4.5% today, despite their big earnings beat. Digital sales boomed, and the company actually posted an 11% rise in same-store sales. But Chipotle is facing increased costs around delivery, and the company is pushing back some store openings. Kate Rogers joins me now, along with the company's CEO, Brian Niccol, in an exclusive interview. And Kate, it looks like the store openings in focus maybe for the slide here today.
That's right. So Chipotle said last night that some of its openings may shift into early 2020 because it's seeing success with its Chipotle lanes. Those are for digital orders that are placed ahead of time. You go through the drive-through and pick them up. So those stores tend to have a little bit longer of a construction time. So that's the reason for some of them shifting into 2020. But of course, we do want to get right over to Brian Niccol in a CNBC exclusive. Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good morning.
So you've had 7 straight quarters of comp acceleration. I'm curious to know, in your opinion, what has been the single biggest driver of growth during this turnaround?
Well, look, I am really proud of our leaders and the results that we've been able to achieve. You know, we set out with, I think, really straightforward strategies around making the brand more visible on our point of difference, which is our approach to food and the culinary commitment that we have. We said we wanted to become a much more digital business. We said we wanted to become a more reliable, consistent, fast operation. And then obviously we said we wanted to build a great culture with great leaders. And all of those things are occurring. And then because we now have, I think, the right leaders with the right culture, we've also been able to use this stage gate process to start bringing forward some innovation. And most recently, we just had a new product on the menu where we demonstrated the organization now has that muscle as well. So really proud of the team, really proud of the results. You know, an 11% comp with 7.5% transactions. It was a terrific quarter. We're really excited about what we've accomplished, but I am just energized about what we're going to do going forward.
And you mentioned digital. Sales increased by 88%, now more than 18% of sales. I'm curious if you think there's actually a ceiling for digital here and what will continue to drive that growth moving ahead.
Yeah, so the digital business has been just a tremendous story. You know, we heard early on that our consumers and our customers wanted more access to this business, to our food, and the way they wanted that access was through digital access. And so we've done that. I believe there's still a lot of room for growth in this space. You know, we just launched a rewards program. We're really in the early days of our app business and our web business. And as we talked about on the call, we're seeing now great success with our Chipotlanes, which is just giving people another access point through their digital access. You order ahead, and literally you can just drive up and grab your food and go. It's the fastest way to get great culinary food, I think, in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, but ironically, Brian, I don't know if this is even on your radar yet, but there's now some cities and towns pushing back against drive-thrus, saying they cause obesity and they contribute to climate change. And I don't know if that's something that, look, obviously you guys would be least affected by this compared with the fast food giants out there. But is that something that's on your radar at all?
You know, look, what we've really focused on is, as a business, we want to be doing the right things for, you know, the planet, the community. We have a purpose around cultivating a better world. So a lot of those things are front and center to us all the time. Really what the Chipotlane is just meeting the consumer's need of asking, how can I get Chipotle's food without getting out of my car?
Yeah.
You know, because I was like, look, it's already really fast. When you order ahead, you park, you run into the restaurant, grab the food off the shelf and go. I was like, that's really fast. As I've learned, it's even faster if you don't have to get out of your car.
No,
So
I'm bullish on the drive-through. I'm just wondering if there is going to be more of a pushback. But I want to ask you about something kind of related to that, which is that, look, it's never been easier for people to order food to them. They don't even have to get in the car and go pick it up. Delivery is a huge thing. I had my Chipotle delivered on Monday. What are the fees like?
Oh, good.
Yeah, what are the costs like associated with this? Because we know a lot of restaurants are losing money on this business.
Yeah, this is where I think Chipotle is uniquely positioned. We have a second make line, which we call our digital make line. So we're able to provide basically the culinary experience for all of our off-premise business, whether it's delivery or order ahead and pickup. And the good news is that is a even more efficient way for us to run our business. It requires less labor than our front in-store line. So we start from a much higher place when we are fulfilling a off-premise order, whether it's for delivery or order ahead. So for us, the economics have been, continue to be and have been really good. And the delivery occasion is continuing to prove to be very incremental. So we're not struggling with the economics with it. Obviously, it's a fluid thing as we work with DoorDash and other companies in doing the delivery business. But today, we're very pleased with where the economics are, and we're very optimistic about where this can go going forward.
So, Brian, the labor market is very tight. Obviously, turnover is typically very high within the restaurant industry. How are the things that you've put in place, like these second make lines and the Chipotle lanes, allowing the company to be a little bit more efficient when it comes to labor?
Well, look, two things. One, we want to provide an employee value proposition where we attract the best to work at Chipotle and then stay with us. So that's why we just did this program around debt-free degrees. That was just a new addition because we want the employee to understand that we care about them beyond just what they do for Chipotle, but we want them to grow personally. And that's a big piece of the puzzle. And then obviously the other thing we're doing on the business is we want to be efficient in every way possible. So that's all the way through the supply chain to how we ultimately make people their great burrito or great bowl. As I mentioned, the digital make line, one of the things that's great about it is the orders come in ahead, we queue it up, and then we're able to use fewer people to make those burritos and bowls on the digital make line. And it completely doesn't interfere with the front line where people that are coming into the restaurant get a great experience and we can move them through quickly as well.
You talked about the stage gate process for testing out new items. Obviously saw a lot of success with carne asada. I think it was mentioned last night you may run out in mid-November. People have been really responding to it well. How much are you taking into account what customers are asking for versus what's possible in stores? I know breakfast is something that comes up all the time. You get asked about it often. It's not in the works just yet, but what can customers expect coming down the line from Chipotle?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about this, Kate. Our stage gate process is one where we want to make sure we've got the right culinary execution in the restaurant. It gives the customer the right experience in the restaurant, and then obviously we want to make sure it makes sense financially. And so carne asada is a great example. It went through the process. It's worked wonderfully. We've executed really well, and the response from our customers has been tremendous. And, we're in the midst of still trying to figure out if we could even get more supply to make it go longer. As of right now, it's always been planned as a seasonal item, but if we can make the season of carne asada go longer, we're going to try and do everything we can in the supply chain to do that. But we want to stay committed to our food with integrity principles. So the only way we can extend this is if we can get access to the right type of steak that meets our principles and then, continues to deliver on the premium experience that people are loving.
Yeah.
So
hey, Brian,
that's what we're balancing.
Real quickly before we go, can you tell us anything macro that you see with the consumer? Are they trading down? Are they trading up? Just a quick pulse check.
Yeah, what we're seeing is the consumer continues to be very strong. You mentioned the labor market's tight, wages are up, and what we see in our business and when we talk to consumers is, look, they want to be associated with companies that have a purpose. They want to be associated with companies that are consistent with their values. And Chipotle is nicely positioned for that, and we continue to see a really healthy customer and a really healthy consumer going forward.
All right, and 11% comps kind of speak for themselves. Brian, thanks very much.
Yeah,
Brian Nichols, CEO of Chipotle. Kate, thank you as well. Kate Rogers on that story for us. And Brian will be back with us next month at the CNBC Evolve Summit in Los Angeles, joined by the CEOs of Walmart, Levi Strauss, Activision Blizzard, and more. Visit cnbcevents.com/evolve to learn more and register. Now, here's what else is coming up. up today on the exchange. Mark Zuckerberg on the Hill. As the stock continues to suffer, is today's hearing moving the needle in the company's efforts to gain Capitol Hill's trust? Plus, one of Wall Street's most followed Apple analysts says the stock could rally another 20%. We'll tell you why and what earnings are telling us about the shift from momentum to value. We're back in 2.
This is The Exchange on CNBC.
Get ready for Brexit on the 31st of October. If you buy items from EU suppliers or sell to EU customers, there'll be new requirements affecting businesses of all sizes. You'll need an EORI trader number and know how to make a customs declaration. You'll also need to make sure you have the right supporting documents for the goods you buy and sell. Find out more about how to prepare. Follow the step-by-step guide at gov.uk/Brexit-traders.
I tell you what used to be fair, lunch. You used to walk past pubs and just see people laughing and merriment. What happened to those cheery days? I tell you what happened to them. It's been replaced by a pint glass sitting by a computer full of condiments, plastic cutlery, and a pair of chopsticks you use for fishing the noodles out your keyboard. It's just not fair.
At TalkTalk, fairness is important. That's why, unlike some other providers, we offer fixed price plans on our fibre broadband for the entire length of your contract. Search TalkTalk Fibre. Fairer broadband for everyone.
What if your email was organised by project and not by date? What if everyone looked at the same thing instead of their own inbox? Then it wouldn't be email at all. Forget your fragmented, jumbled inbox and make the change to channels in Slack. Spaces dedicated to individual projects, topics, or teams. All your communication is neatly organised and everyone is on the same page. Slack. Choose a better way to work. Get started at slack.com.
It's time to do a bit of Debenhams with up to 30% off our favourite coats, knitwear and boots for the whole family and 20% off throughout home. Shop now in-store and at Debenhams.com.
It's hard to find a children's gift which doesn't have a short shelf life. They'll eat all the chocolates in 5 minutes, finish their video games by the end of the week, and grow out of their trainers before you know it. So instead of buying them something just for Christmas, buy them something that's for life. Premium bonds from NS&I. Every month they'll have the chance to win cash prizes. And now you can buy premium bonds for any child. Start their savings journey from just £25. Search Gift Premium Bonds to find out more.
We've been together 3 years. We both love travel and luckily we've got the same taste in music. Next year we're planning a big road trip and my wife's coming too. It'll be nice. The three of us don't do enough together. We know how much your Mini means to you. That's why Mini Service offers an array of convenient options and allows you to book online anytime at mini.co.uk. Because we love your Mini almost as much as you do. Search Mini Service. Who's in? T's and C's apply, subject to availability, participating retailers only.
Welcome back to The Exchange. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg testifying before Congress today. The hearing, which is still ongoing, addresses the proposed digital currency Libra. But lawmakers have essentially put Facebook on trial. Zuckerberg's wide-ranging testimony addressing everything from the problems plaguing his company to doing business in China. Take a listen.
We want to do something that strengthens America's leadership. But I just think that we can't sit here and assume that because America is today the leader, that it will always get to be the leader if we don't innovate. There may be some people who don't want to use it because they don't trust us or don't like us, and that's one of the values of having an independent association where there will be other competitor wallets and other approaches too. I probably 10 years ago would have been more optimistic that trying to work in China could have contributed to making a more open society. And today it seems that in some cases working in China not only does not do that, but compromises American companies' ability to promote our values abroad and around the world.
Here to react and break down the testimony, Ina Fried is chief technology correspondent at Axios, and Nancy Scola is Politico's senior technology reporter. Welcome, guys. So, Ina, I found his China comments fascinating, absolutely fascinating, and Facebook doesn't do business there, so they can kind of just wash their hands of this one. But more to the point for investors who are watching the stock and hoping it gets back to all-time highs, what do you think Zuckerberg has accomplished today, or do you view anything that happened as a setback?
Well, the China comment certainly is designed. I mean, this is the current boogeyman. If you're under fire for some practice or you want to do something controversial, the way to get it done is to say, if we don't do it, China will. So it's not surprising that he's using that language. I don't think that alone is going to be enough, and it clearly hasn't been so far. He's gotten quite the grilling, and I think anything Facebook does at this point should be subject to scrutiny as it is. And certainly adding such a powerful capability to Facebook is worthy of scrutiny, and I think they're getting scrutiny. They're getting scrutiny not just for Libra, but also for other practices.
On Libra, Ina, explain to us what lawmakers are so concerned by. I mean, this has been dominating the headlines. The pushback is going so far as to even send cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin down today. Mark Zuckerberg clearly tried to say we're not, us and Libra are not the same thing. But what do you think Facebook's original intentions were for this, and where do they stand now?
Well, I think Facebook wants, broadly speaking, another way to make money, and Libra is that. It's a way to fund a bunch of different things that today don't make advertising money. So if you have encrypted messaging, and Facebook said it wants to move that way, you're not going to make a lot of money selling ads in an encrypted messaging where you have no idea who's talking and what they're talking about. What you can do is open up payments and peer-to-peer payments, and so I think they see that as a potential financial engine. I think their concerns are many. Some are Facebook specific. What does it mean to give Facebook this additional power? Right. And some are just concerns about any sort of cryptocurrency that makes it harder to track where money is coming from, where it's going. Yes. Now, proponents of not just Libra, but other things would say that Facebook and cryptocurrencies are actually more transparent to things like money laundering because it's digital versus cash and other things.
So, Nancy, on that note, if Facebook does press ahead with these plans, which I think Ina summarized well, it's about opening up a new revenue stream, especially in the age of encrypted messaging. Are they going to be allowed? I mean, Zuckerberg was asked, well, what happens if the U.S. doesn't approve your participation here? And he basically said, well, then they're going to do it without us.
Yeah, it's interesting. He mentioned again and again this idea that we're not going to move ahead without U.S. regulatory approval. It seems on its face sort of a blunt, clear-cut statement, but it's really not. There are a ton of regulators that might have a bite at this different apple, and the ways that you go about getting approval is, as one of the members of Congress mentioned, you could look at some of the existing statute on this, point to a loophole, say this agency has not objected because of that loophole, and therefore we have sort of implicit approval on this. So I think he left himself a lot of room to go ahead, even if he doesn't get, sort of sign off on paper to go ahead with this.
And this is all happening as almost all the state attorneys general are moving forward with plans to crack down on Facebook, Nancy. Interestingly enough, California is still quiet on whether they're part of this probe or not. How is that potentially going to collide with other efforts to crack down on Facebook here?
It's interesting. I'm going to say something that I would love not to say. We don't know how this the probe, the antitrust probe, as you mentioned, there's now 47 AGs that are probing Facebook on antitrust grounds. We don't know how that's going to turn out. And we actually don't know this idea of California is not participating in that probe, and we're not exactly clear why yet. The possibility is California has its own probe. California has a massive legal department. If they really take this seriously, that could pose an even bigger threat, or as big a threat for Facebook as these other 47 attorneys general.
I just thought it was because they protect one of their own, but we know California too well. Yeah, for that, probably. Thank you both. Really appreciate it, shedding some light onto what's really going on Capitol Hill today. Nancy Scola and Ina Fried.
Thanks, Kelly.
Coming up, WeWork's rescue deal is coming not a minute too soon. We're going to look at just how close the company reportedly was to running out of money. Plus, Starbucks has long dominated with its mobile payment app, but no longer. We're going to look who's leapfrogging the company to take the top spot when the exchange comes back into.
London, switch to Vodafone, the UK's best mobile network, and Be Unlimited, because the best phones deserve the best network and our new unlimited data plans. The future is exciting. Ready? Vodafone.
Max download speeds apply to unlimited data. Best network as voted by readers of trusted reviews. Terms at vodafone.co.uk/unlimited.
Oh my days, it's storming the charts at 169.
And last over the line, number 169. You're 169 in line to the throne.
The number 169 never screamed going places until now. Get the Toyota Aygo X-Play for only £169 deposit, then £169 a month with 0% APR representative. Just go. Aygo.
0% APR representative on new sales of Aygo X-Play over 48 months. £169 per month. Customer deposit of £169 when proposed and approved via Access Toyota by 31st of October 2019. £3,487.50 optional final payment. Subject to status to over 18s. Indemnities may be required. Conditions apply. Toyota Financial Services.
What can you get from Tesco for £1 each this Halloween?
A pumpkin.
More.
A spooky pumpkin cup.
More.
Ghostly balloons. Spine-tingling spider webs. Ghoulish plates and napkins.
More. Yes, it is scary what you can get for just £1 each this Halloween.
Tesco. Every little helps. Available in selected larger stores. Do you remember picking out your engagement ring in the jeweller's window? Or choosing your first home? Or deciding the names of your children? When it comes to the important choices in life, you've always taken the greatest care. So shouldn't the same go for which firm of funeral directors you use? After all, that's an important choice too. At Dignity Funeral Directors, we're like you. We also take the greatest care. Our name is your assurance we'll be there by your side every step of the way. Just look for the sign that says Dignity. It's on all our branches and on the Dignity website. Dignity Funeral Directors, taking the greatest care.
This is not just a pumpkin. This is an M&S Halloween pumpkin, ready to carve spooky faces for scaring witches, werewolves, and your neighbours. And the price has been carved to a scarily low 65p. This is not just food. This is M&S food. Offer on 31st of October. Selected stores only. T's and C's apply.
Welcome back to the exchange. Here are some of the movers this hour. Take a look at shares of iRobot, which are down more than 10%. The company had earnings. It beat on the top and bottom line, but delivered a weaker than expected outlook for the holiday season. And that was in part due to U.S. tariffs on its vacuums and some trouble it's been having with pricing pressure. Eli Lilly, meantime, losing more than 2% today, trading at lows not seen since last August. The drug maker delivered a mixed quarter with revenue coming in below forecasts, and sales of the company's key diabetes drug were strong, but analysts said that was in part due to steep discounts. And finally, check out shares of Smile Direct, which are getting hit hard after last week new regulations in California. The stock seeing some buying today. It's up more than 6%. And now to Sue Herrera for a CNBC News Update. Hi, Sue.
Hello, Kelly. Hello, everyone. Here's what's happening at this hour. Defense Secretary Mark Esper meeting with Iraq's defense minister in Baghdad. The minister said U.S. troops will leave Iraq in 4 weeks, reversing Esper's previous announcement that U.S. troops would be allowed to remain in Iraq to fight ISIS. Police in southeastern England made a grim discovery. 39 people were found dead inside a large cargo truck believed to have come from Belgium through a port in eastern England. The truck was found by ambulance workers at Waterglade Industrial Park in Grays, a town by the River Thames, around 25 miles east of central London. Melania Trump was on Capitol Hill this morning to mark the one-year anniversary of President Trump's signing of the Support for Patients and Communities Act. She attended a meeting to talk about the success of the act, which is aimed at addressing the nation's opioid epidemic. And the body of the late Congressman Elijah Cummings arriving at Morgan State University in Baltimore this morning. A public viewing will take place all day with a tribute celebration set for this evening. He will lie in state in the National Statuary Hall in the Capitol tomorrow. You are up to date. That's the news update this hour. Kelly, I'll send it back to you.
Okay, Sue, thank you very much. Sue Herrera. Coming up, after a massive 22% pop yesterday, shares of Biogen are coming back down to earth today. We'll talk about the moves there. Was the street too bullish on its Alzheimer's news? We'll dig into that. Plus, a look at what Caterpillar's numbers may be telling us about the global economy and why the stock isn't lower. That's all ahead on the exchange.
ServiceNow put our workflows in the cloud. This changes everything.
You're right, sir. Everything.
No, not everything. I mean, you're still blatantly sucking up to me, Gary.
Brilliantly observed, sir. Always 3 steps ahead. 6 steps ahead. 16. So many steps.
You done?
1 million steps ahead.
Let's look at this again.
ServiceNow. Works for you.
Driverless cars or trips to Mars, no commission. Delivery drones or the latest phones, no commission. No matter what you trade, at Fidelity, you'll pay no commission for online U.S. equity trades.
At Angie's List, we help you feel confident about hiring pros for home projects. You can check their ratings, read verified reviews, and easily request multiple quotes. Find all the pros you need to know at angieslist.com.
I recently spoke to a group of students about being a scientist at 3M. I wanted them to know that innovation is not just about that one aha moment. Science is a process. It takes time, dedication. It's a journey. We're constantly asking ourselves, how can we do things better and better? What we make has to work. We strive to protect you. At 3M, we're in pursuit of solutions that make people's lives better.
Hi, I'm Hanno. I created Gabi because most people overpay on car insurance. Gabi is a free tool that saves you money by finding the best deal. Gabi users save more than $800 per year on average. Go to Gabi.com and stop overpaying for car insurance.
Attention if you have an annuity or structured settlement. It's your right to sell your annuity payments for the cash you need now. Call the Peachtree Pros. They've been helping people for over 20 years and are professionals at buying structured settlements. It's your money to use for a new car, housing, or to manage debt. If you have a structured settlement and need cash now, call Peachtree today. Call 866-476-7082. That's 866-476-7082. Representatives are available now.
Hi, I'm Hanno. I created Gabi because most people overpay on car insurance. Gabi is a free tool that saves you money by finding the best deal. Gabi users save more than $800 per year on average. Go to Gabi.com and stop overpaying for car insurance.
Sarah Eisen, Wilfred Post. Closing bell weekdays 3 Eastern, CNBC. Earnings season's busiest day. Big names and big reports. Plus Twitter's CFO, the numbers and instant reaction. First on Squawk Box tomorrow.
Welcome back. Let's catch you up on a few stories that should be on your radar today. It is time for Rapid Fire. Here with the headlines are Contessa Brewer, Seema Modi, and Meg Terrell. And welcome, everybody. Meg, we're picking up on yesterday's big story, the Biogen move, the Alzheimer's treatment. The CEO joining Squawk Box this morning, one day after his stock soared on that announcement that it would seek regulatory approval for its experimental Alzheimer's drug. There are still plenty of critics and skeptics about all of this. Here's what the CEO had to say.
It was a thorough engagement with the FDA over months, and the evidence came over time. We collected tremendous and complex set of data, including biomarkers and imaging. And the FDA dedicated a lot of quality time to engage with us so that we come to the second meeting. As a CEO, I'm reasonably confident that this can lead to a market approval one day.
So talk us through some of the controversy is a little bit around, as you pointed this out yesterday, the analyst community not as excited as the investing community necessarily. They're like, we don't know if this path of treatment, if we want to resurrect this and go down this route again.
Yeah, so there's a lot of skepticism around Alzheimer's drugs just because they've been so difficult to develop, and this approach toward removing these plaques in the brain has never worked. People became more skeptical yesterday as more information came out. Biogen presented some slides, gave some more information about the studies, and it just kind of confounded people. It's a little bit confusing. One of the studies succeeded, the other one didn't succeed. So everybody's looking for more data at this Alzheimer's meeting they're holding in December. But right now, and there's this great piece in Stat News by my friend Adam Feuerstein today, where he talked with a lot of buy-side investors who say, we're not necessarily extremely bullish on this, but we can't not own this right now, because if it does succeed, it will be huge for Biogen. Yeah. But the next thing is going to be Michel Vounatsos there, the CEO of Biogen, saying he's reasonably sure this will potentially get FDA approval. Well, then will it get paid for by insurers? If the data are not extremely strong that this drug really works, insurers are definitely going to push back. And I've been talking with analysts like Ronnie Gall over at Bernstein who say Biogen will likely price this wherever the market will bear. He puts an upper limit on that at $50,000 a year. Wow. When you think about the millions of people who have Alzheimer's disease, right. That's a huge
big number. Yeah, that's a big number. So it also appears that in the trials, when they went back and looked at the data, kind of looked things over, that they had just increased the amount that they had given people, and that contributed to the efficacy going up?
So basically they said over time, when they got more data that had just been continuing with those trials between when they looked at these two slices, more patients had been on a higher dose of the drug in the later snapshot of the data. And that's how they describe what happened, why it looked better later than earlier.
Any trials or learning lessons from Eli Lilly, which also had an Alzheimer's drug, initially had promising data, but then ended up failing in 2016?
Some people are wondering if this is going to potentially resurrect old programs with this same approach, targeting amyloid beta in the brain. One of the criticisms of Lilly's program is potentially whether the drug actually targeted it in the right way or even got into the brain enough. And even older programs, people said those people didn't even have buildups of plaque in the brain. They were in the wrong trial. So there is some question about whether a lot of these programs will get revived and people will over again spend billions and billions of dollars.
Because there's a lot of desperation where it comes to this.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and if it does, I mean, obviously if it does work, great, but the back and forth right now is fascinating. The stock has kind of been on a round trip since initially selling off this year. Today, again, about steady after yesterday's big gains. Next, what looked like a really bad sign from a big earnings bellwether were Caterpillar results this morning. The stock initially fell almost 7% after missing on profits and sales and cutting its full-year earnings guidance. That's the bad trifecta. But then it made up most of those losses. It's up 1% now, and it follows a big revenue miss from chipmaker Texas Instruments last night, who also gave weak guidance, seeing that those shares are still down about 6%.
So a big reversal in shares of Caterpillar. The initial reaction was this is a very disappointing earnings report, but then as analysts and investors took a second look, I think the idea was, well, we already knew that the slowdown was happening. If you take a look at the past 3 earnings reports from Caterpillar, they have disappointed. And then the company in the earnings call, CEO Jim Appleby, talked about how there is weakening demand from dealers for their big machinery, goods, and equipment that they specialize in, but it's not because they are dealing with financial distress. It's just because they're waiting to see where the global economy goes from here. It's that uncertainty around the trajectory that is having them kind of sit tight, saying we're going to hold on to the inventory we have and see how things play out before making some of these big purchases.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting when you say, look, we're expanding our offerings here. We're going to focus on our digital platforms and see what could happen there to round out our coverage so that we're not so reliant on how much inventory the dealers are stocking. Wow. That's also a glimmer of good news, sort of a carrot to hold out in front of them.
Yeah, I think we're trying to see whether technology and the progress they're making there will actually impact their bottom line or help them with cost-cutting initiatives, which is actually something that Honeywell has been trying to do as well, another player in the industrial space that actually came out with much better than expected earnings. Another thing I would point out is China.
And that stock didn't move up much on
Didn't move as much. One thing I would point out on China that I think you'll find interesting is that continued pressure in China. Some of it has to do with pressures from local competitors in China, just becoming much better at specializing in excavators and some of these other big machinery that typically Caterpillar would win that business, and now there's that growing competition on the ground in the country. So it's not so much the slowdown of the economy.
And who do you think is going to win in the long run? You know, I mean, ultimately, if the Chinese think say, you know what, given the choice, I'm going with Caterpillar. I mean, come on. That's why it's interesting for these companies to try to strike while the iron's hot, so to speak. Right. Even for Caterpillar. Anyway, we're just about 9 days away from the launch of Apple's TV Plus. We've been talking a lot about the Disney launch, but this one's coming around the corner too. And Morgan Stanley is bullish enough to look for a 20% upside on the stock. Katie Huberty is raising her price target on the tech giant.